Welcome to the D Post Sports Chat. I'm Rubenstein here again with Todd Murray to discuss the WVU women's basketball team, which is getting ready to head out to Oklahoma City for the Big 12 tournament. And Todd, one thing we were just discussing there is this team has kind of gone from being the hunter to the hunted for the rest of the season. And how do you think this team will handle that, and how big of an aspect is that for what happens from here on out?
Yeah, well, as they've been moving up in the rankings, they've continued to play fairly well. They've been, racking up the wins here, and it didn't seem to be the rankings moving up didn't seem to be much of a burden. So I don't think it will be. This weekend, Mike Carey's always preaching the old one game at a time theme, and they seem to be pretty good about just concentrating on who they're playing and not worrying about what the expectations are.
The Big 12 awards came out here recently, and WVU took a number of them, with Mike Carey being named Big 12 Coach of the Year, Asia Bussey and Bria Holmes on the first team, Taylor Palmer was the Sixth Man of the Year, and then Jess Harley was also on the all-defensive team with Asia Bussey. Pretty much what you expected. Did WVU get all the awards that it anticipated, and how deserving were they?
Yeah, I think so. Those honors were right on. You could probably make a strong case for Crystal Caldwell somewhere, on those teams. But, when you look at it, Bria Holmes has just really emerged this year as a true star, as a sophomore, somebody who has an extremely bright future. Asia Bussey, I'm not sure that I saw a better center than her in the Big 12. I think, she had to be first team. Taylor Palmer has been a big spark off the bench. Not a lot of teams can bring somebody like her that's can come in and hit shots like that. I know she'd probably rather be starting, but it seems like she's really adjusted to that role well. And Mike has just brought everybody together here, has gotten them to play together as a team. Just worry about the old one game at a time, and you couldn't argue against him being Coach of the Year. Jess Harley is always a defensive spark plug. We've seen that time and again during her 4 years in the program. Obviously, the league's coaches have noticed that as well. So I think all the honors well deserved.
Going back to Taylor Palmer here for a minute, is I guess as WVU now enters into tournament play, this was an aspect that Mike Carey brought up after the Kansas game earlier this week, in that he thinks teams may copycat and start defending WVU the way that Kansas did, which I know is that sagging type of defense is something that WVU's kind of faced all season long. But against Kansas, Mike Carey switched things up a little bit and had Taylor Palmer actually at point guard, and didn't play a true point guard on the court there for a number of minutes as WVU was trying to extend the lead and hold on for the Big 12 championship. But that said, how comfortable is he with going to that type of a lineup? Was that just a one-game situation, or is that something that WVU could do more and more as it progresses in the tournament?
Yeah, I'm always a little surprised that he didn't try that a little earlier, especially after Brooke Hampton went down with the knee injury. Linda Stepney, obviously her shot was just way off in that Kansas game, and Darius Falk is not really an outside shooter, more of a driver, and obviously teams were really not even guarding them out on the perimeter. And obviously it was a great move to insert Palmer in there. At least it gives you the threat of hitting some outside shots. And I don't think Mike Carey will hesitate to go to that again as postseason continues.
Kind of going back to where we started, bigger picture, WVU's going to Oklahoma City, obviously put itself in position to win this tournament, but the Mike Carey's eyes have always been on the NCAA tournament, and he doesn't hide that. Until everything is just building up to trying to get the best seed possible in the NCAA tournament. It seems like most people think WVU's a 2 seed right now. What do you think they need to do in Oklahoma City to maintain that 2 seed? And as you kind of look at the field and WVU's draw, the second question being, how do you think it plays out? Does WVU have a real chance of making a run at the conference title as well?
I think they do. It's it's important that they win games. I mean, they may be a 2 now, but if they were to get upset in the first game, that could very well drop them. So they do need wins. The first opponent in the tournament could very well be TCU, and that's a team that they swept, but TCU gave them a pretty good fight, and they need to get past that one first. I definitely think they have a shot at winning some games in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd, appreciate your time and have safe travels to and from Oklahoma City, and please continue to check theedpost.com for the latest on the Mountaineers. Thanks for watching again.